So welcome to the second part. And in earlier first part, we discussed the term diaspora's meaning and some other important vocabularies from the text and the first para of the text. Now we will start the second para, last para of this little text. That's our lesson for today's class. So let's read. So in first para, actually, we learned the definition of diaspora, to whom it refers, and how the word is used, and when did the researchers or scholars start studying this phenomenon. And now we'll see actually some prominent diasporas around the world. So among the great diasporas of history is that of Jewish people who were forced to leave the land in ancient times. So diasporas can happen relatively any parts of the world, but around among these there are some particular or specific, you say, like prominent incident of diaspora that took place in earth world, and around these, among these, the diasporas of the Jewish people is prominent, and they were forced to leave the land in ancient times. তারা ওই প্রাচীন সময়ে, আগেকার সময়ে তাদের নিজস্ব জন্মভূমি ছাড়তে বাধ্য হয়েছিল. The movement of Aryans from Central Europe to the Indian subcontinent thousands of years ago is also a noteworthy diaspora, although the causes of this diaspora are unclear. So like Jewish people, there are another tribes of people. Those are known as Aryans, means in Bangla it is pronounced like Arjo, and their movement from Central Europe to Indian subcontinent the thousands of years ago, প্রায় 1000 বছর আগে, সহস্র বছর আগে, এটাও একটা উল্লেখযোগ্য ডায়াসপোরার ঘটনা, অভিবাসীর ঘটনা, যদিও although the causes of this diaspora are unclear, যদিও এই মুভমেন্টটার, মাইগ্রেশনটার কারণটা জানা যায়নি. So it is actually unknown to us whether they were forced to leave the land or they came here willingly. But it's also a prominent noteworthy, means উল্লেখযোগ্য. Next it comes in 20th century history, বিশ্ব শতাংশ century ইতিহাসে, the Palestinian diaspora has attracted a lot of attention and been a cause of concern for world leaders because of the plight of Palestinians. তো এই 20 শতকের ইতিহাসে প্যালেস্টাইনিয়ানদের ডায়াসপোরা হচ্ছে ওয়ার্ল্ড লিডার্সদের অ্যাটেনশন কেড়েছে, অথবা মানুষের নজরে এসছে, অ্যান্ড ইট বিকাম এ কজ অফ কনসার্ন, এটা একটা উদ্বেগের কারণ হয়ে দাঁড়িয়েছে সবার জন্যে, বিশ্ব নেতাদের জন্যে, and because of the plight of the Palestinians, প্যালেস্টাইন অথবা ফিলিস্তিনের মানুষের দুর্দশার কারণে এই প্যালেস্টাইন ডায়াসপোরাটা মানুষের ওয়ার্ল্ড লিডার্স অ্যান্ড দ্য কনসার্ন অফ পিপলদের অ্যাটেনশন ড্র করেছে. There have been massive diasporas in Africa too over the centuries, either because of war or because of the ravages of nature. সো আফ্রিকা অঞ্চলও এরকম ম্যাসিভ অথবা অধিক সংখ্যক ডায়াসপোরার ঘটনা ঘটেছে, অভিবাসী অথবা এরকম সেটেলমেন্টের, অন্য জায়গায় সেটেলমেন্টের ঘটনা ঘটেছে ওভার দ্য সেঞ্চুরিজ, এরকম শতাব্দী ধরে. অ্যান্ড দ্য রিজনস দেয়ার কুড বি বিকজ অফ ওয়ার, যুদ্ধের কারণে, অর বিকজ অফ দ্য র্যাভেজেস অফ নেচার, অথবা প্রকৃতির এরকম হিংস্রতার কারণে. We know that the condition of Africa is very horrible. The people, they fight against many obstacles to lead a simple life, or you say like civilized life, and many parts of the Africa still not getting the light of the civilization. They are living behind wars, they are living in darkness, this much. So like Jews, like Arjus, like Palestinians, Africans or African people, they had also many examples, they created many examples of diaspora, and those happened because of war sometimes, and because of the ravages or the cruelty of nature sometimes. But the chief reason why the phenomenon of diaspora is attracting so much attention now is globalization. কিন্তু শেষে বলা হয়েছে সবচেয়ে বড় কারণ যেটা এই কেন এই ফেনোমেননটাতে এই প্রবণতাটা ডায়াসপোরাটা এতটা সবার নজর কাটছে বিকজ অফ globalization বিশ্বায়নের কারণে so people have a tendency now to move different parts of the world and they are not actually confined to a single place and they have tendency to settle or they always fascinate for better lives so like for example people living in third world they have a tendency or they nourish a dream to settle in Europe or in other developed countries so this is actually result of globalization people they try to connect they try to give the opportunity to be a global citizen they do not like to confine themselves with a particular place or their own country and this causes actually diaspora so you can term this or define this in two perspectives it can be at once positive and it can be at once negative positive is in this case that people they move even the world they can share their experiences ideas they can contribute to knowledge science technology development and many other things but on the other hand as they sometimes they are forced sometimes there's a cruelty of nature sometimes there's war and these people actually they become homeless rootless they become shelterless they don't have food and they try to get shelter in other countries and they lead a life of refugees so so they are deprived of basic facilities or basic demands of life so these are the things like so here we see some questions let's have a discussion of the questions and you'll try to answer this you have to write this there first question says are all diasporas voluntary সব diaspora কি স্বেচ্ছা অথবা নিবেদিত so we learned it in the text that actually all diasporas are not voluntary or you say like it didn't happen willingly sometimes people they are enforced to leave their land they are enforced to leave their country because of war because of cruelty of nature because of attack because of chaos or many other reasons so diasporas can be voluntary and can be a point of enforcement the next it says if all diasporas are not voluntary so why would a group of people want to leave their country so if it says that if all diasporas not voluntary যদি সবগুলো স্বেচ্ছায় না হয় তাহলে কেন এরকম একটা বড় সংখ্যক মানুষ তাদের নিজের দেশ ত্যাগ করে so actually we discussed it earlier that sometimes they are enforced to do this and they were supposed to do this to leave their land leave their homeland or in some other cases they actually willing to do this because of fascination for higher life or golden opportunities to lead a life of luxury next it comes when is the study of diaspora started to attract scholars we also got the answer in the text that actually scholars they started studying the phenomenon of diaspora just recent decades they didn't study it earlier in large extent so recent decades it started next it says what are the some of the major diasporas of the past so actually they are asking about the examples or incidents of diaspora so we learned the Jews diasporas of Jews Palestinian diasporas and another one is like Aryans or Arjus diasporas from Central Europe next it says what has globalization to do with diasporas globalization actually it matters and it's one of the reasons because of what people tend to leave their country and try to settle in other countries so I think you got the question's answer and you'll go through the other exercises mentioned here if you find difficulties talk to me till then keep fine thank you so much happy study bye